where people can sustain themselves and their families. The reality is that, yes, many more people are out there at work, but so many of them still feel like they cannot pay the rent, that they cannot put food on the table. It's been so difficult for them to educate their children, especially those going off to higher education. And this is not only a debate, this is not only a conversation happening in the city of New York and in the state of New York. We see this nationally. So many people continue to lose hope in their future and continue to lose hope in obtaining the American dream. And we always know this, that in the state of New York, as the state of New York goes, so does the rest of the nation. Our governor has proven time and time again that whenever we set the bar in the state of New York on marriage equality and other issues, that the rest of the nation follows. And so there is, we appreciate his leadership. We appreciate that of the New York State Legislature, especially Speaker Carl Hastie, to push to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour in the state of New York. And we've all been in the middle of this fight for so many years. We've all been out there, so many of you, whether it's the RWDSU, whether it's DC 37, the hotel trade, and of course, so many of our friends in labor, especially this giant, this pioneer, who's also a Bronx resident. You've been there with us to make sure that we have a living wage law in the city of New York, and we're gonna make it, we're gonna push forward, make sure that in Albany, and in this year, we get past the increase of the minimum wage and go on and do this nationwide. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the president of 1199 SEIU,
Good morning. Good morning. I want to thank my president, President Diaz. You know, I'm a lifelong resident of the Bronx, proud to be a lifelong resident of the Bronx. But we're here today to talk about more than that. We're here today to talk about the fact that we are about to make history in New York. The history that we are making is returning the state to working people, making it possible that people who are willing to work hard have the ability to take care of their families. That spending time with their families is something that we all want to do. But you can't do that if you have to do 2 to 3 jobs in order to take care of your family. When that happens, the quality of your family life goes down because rather than you raising your family, unfortunately, too often the streets are raising your family while you're out trying to earn a living to take care of your family. And that's why I'm honored and proud to be here today with Governor Cuomo, who stood up and said, once again, New York will be the aspirational state in this country that if you want to work hard, you can come here and you can earn a living wage. There are many people that are friends of working people in this state, that represent us, that do a good job and are part of this fight and are willing to talk to everyone. Listen, if we're serious about this, there can be no one that we walk across in the street or in our communities or in our churches or in our schools that we don't tell them, call your legislator. Tell your legislator that this is too important for them not to take a strong position on it. And let's just get this job done. It is my pleasure and my honor to again talk about a friend of working people and to bring and present to you our Attorney General, Mr. Eric Schneiderman.
Thank you, George. Thank you, 1199. And thank thank you. George is also chairing the Mario Cuomo Campaign for Economic Justice. And for those of you who have not yet been in the Justice Mobile, it is parked right out here. And this is what the governor and George and others are going to be traveling around the state. Because this is a campaign that has to be taken to every part of the state. And as has been noted by our great borough president and by George Gresham, this is a national campaign. I just came back from Washington yesterday. I was at a national meeting of attorneys general. They all are looking to New York and states all over the country where their budgets are getting cut, where environmental, labor, sensible gun control laws are being suppressed. They are looking to New York as a place that shows the way forward that includes all of our people. But we cannot go forward when millions of New Yorkers are working full-time and living in poverty. We know that. And with this campaign, you are going to join with all of us, and I, even contrary to my personal and religious beliefs, I'm going to travel in an RV to help participate in this and help carry this message to parts of the state where our voices may not seem as loud. You are taking a message to the country. We stand for the proposition in New York that we all rise together. We understand in New York that people who are living on poverty wages aren't spending money to make the economy grow. The people who are saying, oh, this will cost jobs, this will cost us economic growth, have not read one economic study. The New York State Department of Labor analyzed more than 70 studies. Raising the minimum wage makes the economy grow. It keeps people in their homes. It keeps children in school. It is good for all of us. And Mario Cuomo spoke often of the family of New York. And it is great to follow in this tradition, to name this campaign for him, because as surely as we are all connected and we all have to rise and fall together, raising the minimum wage for all New Yorkers, for the 2.3 million workers who will benefit from this, will help every family, every community in our entire state, and this will be a model for the country. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. $7.25 an hour and send the message that we don't care about workers. We're not going to allow employers to send the message that you are so unimportant that we will cheat you out of your wages wherever we can. We prosecute wage theft, and I am confident that one of the reasons so many employers try to shave wages off workers and steal them, and we've recovered money from more than 18,000 workers in back wages, it's because you send them a message when you say you only have to pay $8 or $9 an hour, that these folks don't matter. So why not try and squeeze them a little more? Today that ends in the state of New York. Today we start a process that I'm confident will end in a path to raising the minimum wage, setting a national model, and sending the message. So join me and my brothers and sisters in labor and my colleagues in government and our great governor who has inspired this and has channeled the inspiration from an earlier governor who the campaign is named for. We now are going to bring up someone who sends the message just by his life and his presence of why this campaign is so important to all of us. Jarrell Ware is a fast food worker. He lives here in the Boogie Down Bronx. In McDonald's in my neighborhood on the west side of Manhattan, and he's going to talk to you about what this means in real terms for real people. And all of our colleagues and all of our friends, listen to what this man has to say. This is what we are fighting for, and there are many millions of Jarrell Wares all over America who are looking to you for leadership and looking for us to show the way. Jarrell Ware, thank you.
Here we go. Thank you. Good morning. How are you doing today? Get up to the eye. Believe that we will win. Believe it. My name is Jarrell Ware, and I'm proud and excited to be here today, fighting for Fight 15 minimum wage. I remember I'm 34 now. When I was 17, I worked at Wendy's, and I got a cigarette flick through the drive-through window. And from that day forward, I told myself I was going to fight, and I was going to fast forward. It's going to be not the bottom of the shoe. It's going to be where we're supposed to be with the rest of the working class. And here we are. really got involved 3 years ago. One of the organizers from Fight 15 came up to me and said, are you tired of making 725? I said, are you kidding me? You know, you just never, you know, you work in a fast food restaurant, you just think you don't deserve more. You know, you don't deserve living wage. You don't deserve to work 40 hours plus and go home and take care of your family. You don't deserve that, right? But one thing led to another. I've been around the country, around the world, fighting for fair pay for all workers. One thing led to another, and since then I've been everywhere, and no matter where I go, I always think about where I've been in New York. And you know, my workers and I banded together, and other fast food workers to fight for living wages that we deserve. Thanks to Governor Cuomo, of course. You know, we dream about these things, right? I'm like, okay, I'll make $15 an hour. Maybe I'm gonna dream about it. But Governor Cuomo came out of nowhere and said, I'm gonna make your dream come true. Not only did we fight, we won because we had Governor Cuomo as our champion. He's my super governor. I'm sorry. The governor stood up and said we deserve to be paid and get paid decent fair wage, and he made that happen. Governor Cuomo really gave us a chance to get out of poverty and live a decent life where I thought I would never. He got it done for us. And with the governor in our corner, we're going to stand up and fight for fair pay again. But not just for fast food workers, for all workers in New York, because everybody deserves it, right? Yeah. We deserve to go take care of our family. We deserve to go get food on our table. All these things. And you know, and we are fighting $15 in New York for everybody in New York and everybody across the country. Everybody that works 40 hours a week is going to take care of their family, not just in New York. New York's just going to set the mark, like we do everything. So please, join me in giving a big welcome to the man who is fighting for the people, like you and me every single day. Super Governor Cuomo.
To our great Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman. Let's give him a round of applause. Eric and I were actually young men at one time, many, many years ago. And we actually met, and one of our first political experiences was working on Mario Cuomo's first campaign for governor. So it is fitting that Eric and I should now be here together, serving together and serving to make Mario Cuomo's dream come true. Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. We have George Gresham in 1199, who is 1199 has been a force for social justice throughout this city, this state, and this nation for many years. And not only do they fight the good fight, they actually win, which is even more important. Let's give them a round of applause. And you're Borough President Ruben Diaz. I'm not a Bronx boy. I was a Queens boy. I was a neighbor. I went to Fordham University. I had my heart broken by many young ladies from the Bronx. But I watched the Bronx for many, many years. And this is a different Bronx. There is a different energy. You feel it coming back. It's like a locomotive coming down the train. You look at the numbers, you see that it's a different Bronx. The housing numbers, the job numbers, the cut in unemployment, the improvements that are being made, the new MTA stations that are coming that are going to revolutionize the Bronx and make it more accessible. Progress doesn't just happen. It happens because we have great leaders, and that's what you have in your borough president, Ruben Diaz. Let's give him a round of applause. And we have the line of Lenox Avenue, Congressman Charles Rangel.
this is the second stop in a cross-state tour. It is a tour in an RV, Justice Mobile. I like that better than an RV. You can see it out front. Big word all across the RV says fairness. And we're going all around the state to talk to people about this issue, to generate support, to enlist them in a crusade to make their voice heard in Albany, because this is the important issue of our time. And it is about fairness. It is that basic. Because we all talk about the new economy and what's going on in the new economy. And the truth is, we've never seen anything like this before. We are creating jobs. We've created more private sector jobs in this state than have ever existed before in the history of the state. We are creating the jobs, but the jobs are polarizing wealth and opportunity like we've never seen before also. The top end, if you have the right skill set, if you know how to code a computer, if you can, if you're a financial mastermind, the top end of the economy is doing very well. Top 1-2%, they're making more money than they've made. But if you're in the middle class, you're a working family, you are getting left behind faster than you have ever gotten left behind before. And the economy is not being fair to the workers. There was always a certain amount of fairness in our economy. Businesses made more money, workers made more money. Up until about 1973, as productivity went up, pay to the workers went up. 1950 to 1973, productivity went up 90%. Wages went up about 90%. Since 1973, productivity has gone up 75%. Wages have gone up 9%. CEOs used to make 20 times what the worker made. Now CEOs make 300 times what the worker makes. That is not fair. That is not fair. And what this country was premised on, what the state was premised on, is the economy will be fair. Because we invited people from all across the globe and we said, come here, we want you to join our family. We'll provide you with education, we'll work with you on health care, we'll help you get a job, but we want you to work. And whatever you can do, you do. And we will respect your contribution. And there was a dignity in work. And we have lost that respect and fairness and dignity in the workplace and in the economy. Minimum wage in the state of New York, we raised it $9 an hour. But you can't live on $18,000 a year. You can't raise a family on $18,000 a year. You can't buy food and pay for rent on $18,000 a year. FDR started the minimum wage. When he established the minimum wage, he said, it's not just a wage that sustains people, it is a decent living. If you're working full-time, whatever you're working at, you should have a decent life and you should make a decent living. And not only are people being treated unfairly, people are losing hope about their ability to move forward. They're losing hope that their child is going to do better than they're doing. They're losing hope that they can retire and live a pleasant life in retirement. And that undermines the entire dream of America. That gets to the essence of what we promised people. Congressman and George were talking about an aspirational country, an aspirational state, New York. You come here, you aspire to do great things, to move forward. You're ambitious, you're energetic. You come here, you can do it. That's the dream, that's the promise, that's the hope. That's why we get all this entrepreneurial energy. People coming here saying, just give me a chance, just let me go, baby. and I'll show you what I can do. Because we had that hope, that belief that you can make it up. You get an education, your kid gets an education, they're going to do better than you. My father comes from Italian immigrants. They couldn't even speak the language because the public school. He winds up the governor of the state of New York. That's America. That's New York. And what people are saying now is, I don't know that that's true anymore. I don't know that I can send my kid to college. I don't know that my child can afford that kind of debt. And if we lose that aspiration, and we lose that dream, and you put it together with a sense that you're being treated unfairly, this is a totally different America. And we're not going to let that happen. We're going to take action now. And there's two things we can do right now. First, we're going to say work pays. We're going to say people who work should be treated with dignity and respect. Give them a wage that actually allows them to raise their They say, well, where do you get 15? 15 sounds high. That's what the businessmen say right away, and the opposition say, oh, 15, that sounds very high. No, 15 is fair. I'll tell you where we got 15. You take the minimum wage in the 70s and just index it by the rate of inflation. That's fair. Take the minimum wage in the 70s and just give us the rate of inflation. And you know where it takes you? To our proposal for $15. That's where it takes you. The other argument you'll hear, Jarrell has heard it, the other argument you'll hear, because we just went through this with the fast food workers, we got them a raise. People will say, well, government shouldn't dabble in the private marketplace. Government shouldn't set a minimum wage. It's none of government's business because they're interfering in the marketplace. First of all, it's been well established that the federal government sets a minimum wage and states set a minimum wage for decades and decades and decades. Second, you want to talk about interfering in business. What happens now, Jarrell works at a Wendy's or a McDonald's, gets paid the minimum wage, $18,000. But if you get paid $18,000, you are still below the poverty level in New York. So you qualify for food stamps and benefits. On average, the state then gives the minimum wage worker for McDonald's $7,000 in benefits. So McDonald's pays them 18, we pay them 7, and they're making 25. Why are we subsidizing McDonald's workers? Why are we paying McDonald's employees? Why do they need us to subsidize them? That, my friends, is interfering in the private marketplace. Tell the taxpayers of this state, you're subsidizing the minimum wage workers in all these corporations that are making billions and billions of dollars. It's an injustice, it's a perversion, it has to stop, and it has to stop now. And last point, we call it the Mario Cuomo campaign. Why? Because my father was all about principle. And he was all about fighting for principle, whatever the odds were. And he believed that New York was a special place. And New Yorkers were special people. He loved the whole country and he loved the other states, but he really loved New York and he loved New Yorkers. And New York was always the progressive capital of the nation. New York was the place that had the Statue of Liberty in our heart. We were right on the coast looking out across the ocean with our arms open saying, come here, come join us. People from all over, different races, different religions, come join us. And we will make one family from all who join, and we will work together as one family. And we promise each other this: fairness for all, justice for all, real justice, social justice, racial justice, economic justice. We will discriminate against no one. And we will help each other excel and do better, because when one of us is raised, we're all raised. And when one of us is old, we're all old. That was Mario Cuomo's dream. And this unfairness is repugnant to that dream and repugnant to what New York is all about. He also believed this: if you get New Yorkers together, there is nothing that's going to defeat us. There is nothing as strong as New Yorkers unified. And that's what this RV trip is all about. We're going to organize workers, private sector unions, public sector unions, people not in unions, people who are making the minimum wage, middle class, rich people who care about community and care about fairness and care about justice. And we're going to create a force that is going to change this policy and this law, because there is nothing like New York united. And we're going to come together, men and women, black and white, straight and gay, upstate, downstate. We're going to insist on change. You do the right thing. Because the workers are doing the right thing for this economy. And we will get it done in New York, and you will then shine a light for the entire nation to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's give it up for Governor Andrew Cuomo. We want to thank the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club for hosting. We also want to acknowledge Associate Executive Director Stephen Melton. Ladies and gentlemen, únense a la lucha para la justicia económica en el estado de Nueva York. Let's join the fight for 15. Let's join the fight for economic justice in the state of New York. Thank you all. Thank you for coming out.